Hi folks, we're Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio radio live stream. So I'm going to do a video now, and just so I can annoy all my listeners, particularly ones in the Northern Hemisphere, I'm going to slip into it's nice and hot here in Australia at this time of year, and I'm going to slip into a nice cool swimming pool and have a bit of a splash around. So having annoyed my listeners now, affirmative action. If you look at, and I've picked out some sort of key prominent black people. I think they're all three of them are women and one a gay guy, but they've all been the recipient of very aggressive affirmative action, and they're not what I'd rate as sort of gifted, capable, or talented people to begin with. And it wouldn't be so bad, I suppose, if particularly talented people with rocket science IQs or something were being helped, but I guess they wouldn't need as much help to gain prominent positions, whether it be in the public service, academia, business, whatever. So let me have a look at this, because I want to talk about the amount of help they get, the frequency and the scale of the affirmative action help they're given. Because they're not only being given dispensations in the sense of you don't have to pass the exam or even come close or come anywhere near passing the exam. You don't have to meet any independent assessment or measurement of your capability. We'll take that. You don't have to worry about that. But on top of that, in addition to getting those dispensations, we'll also give you handouts and leg ups and so on to get you into prominent positions that you couldn't dream of getting anywhere near based on your own merit. So it's the frequency and the scale of it that I find interesting. If you want to create equality with some, or equity, or whatever, however you want to phrase it, you should only need to do it once. So the view is that these people are being held back by discrimination or some form of institutional, as they say, discrimination. Now, we all know that's utter and total bullshit, but let's assume, just for the sake of argument, it is the case. So there's the kid that can't pass, the black kid that can't pass, say, the junior high school diploma. So what we'll do is we'll give him just gift a junior high school diploma to the kid, and we'll give him a good pass. So he's not getting 51% and just scraping through. So we'll give him a 75% mark or a grade. Nowhere near what he actually got. He maybe only got a 10% grade, but we'll give him 75%. It makes him not only that he passes, but he looks like a pretty promising, capable student, and or her, him or her. Black person. So we'll give them that. But then once they've started the process, remember, they're helping someone that, based on merit, could never have achieved these things. So then it comes to the senior high school diploma and graduating to university, that sort of thing. So we've got to help them again. So there's now 2 hits of affirmative action, but not only are they given a pass in and maybe in between various affirmative action things, so they don't get discouraged or leave senior high school. So then they're given a free pass through a senior high school diploma again, and they've got to make sure it's a covered in glory type level of pass. So it's got to be 70-80%. So then now there's 2 affirmative action. But they want to get into an Ivy League college, or that's the path they want to. They can't, the entrance exam, they just can't do it. So they'd flunk that. They wouldn't come anywhere near it. So again, they need another pass through. So now they're only 18 years old, and already they've received 3 prominent pass throughs, but they can't afford, their family doesn't have much money, so they can't afford to pay the type of fees. So then they have to be arranged a scholarship that's only meant to be for the brightest kids that don't have money. But now that scholarship is being given to a low IQ person that can't even pass junior high school, for fuck's sake. So they've now had 1, 2, 3, 4 affirmative action handouts. Then they're given another handout to pass each year in their college courses and to come out with a degree or a master's or even a PhD. So then we're at 5 or 6, very notable, very sizable affirmative action handouts. But then they got to go and get a job. So then there's another affirmative action, another dispensation they're given there. But then they need promotions and they need prominence. So there's more affirmative action, and yet more again. Then they're being given job. They're being given things like book publishing deals or president of the students union and all sorts of other things. So multiple there. So they by the time they get to say president of the company, or maybe they're a lecturer in a college, in academia, or public service, it doesn't really matter. But they by this stage they've received not 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, but they received like 20 dispensations and handouts and gifts to get them where they are. So once they're on that affirmative action bandwagon, the dispensations and the handouts are they're forever. They just have to be given to them, because if reality comes into the fantasy, because it's a fantasy world, and these people couldn't achieve this through any form of merit. So once this fantasy world is created, then it has to be perpetuated with yet more affirmative action handouts and dispensations and gifts. So let's look at a case of a very senior college academic on a $1 million a year salary and this sort of thing, and it's a black woman, and she's a very mediocre student in a primarily black high school, and so it's not going anywhere. She's not going to achieve anything. She'll be she'll end up working at Starbucks as a barista or something like that. That's going to be the height of her. Maybe she'll get a job in the legal aid office as a legal assistant, maybe that, but that's going to be about the extent of it. But somehow, just towards the end of junior high school, she gets given a scholarship to complete high school. Then, hey, she gets another scholarship. Now, this is an ordinary student that would have flunked, I believe, junior high school, and certainly flunked senior high school if she'd stayed there that long. But now she's been given two scholarships to complete high school. Whoa, she gets another scholarship then to go to university. Holy fuck. And it's an Ivy League university, no less. And she stays on and gets a PhD. Holy crap. Here's this ordinary student, it's sociology degree, so it's a bullshit degree. But then is offered a job as a lecturer at the fact. Then she's head of the department, and she's prominent in all sorts of activism, and then she's the president of the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee, and it just goes on and on. And is being paid very handsomely. She again, there's so many issues of handout and dispensation, and where she doesn't have to be tested by merit or under any form of merit. And this is really the fantasy world that this affirmative action creates, that you can't just do it once or twice. There's no point at which equity or equality is achieved. It just doesn't happen. Because they're taking a low IQ person who isn't prepared to put any of the work, make any of the sacrifices necessary to be able to achieve these outcomes, again, in their own merit. And so once they're on that, once they're being given that glory, then the people that put them there have to make sure that affirmative action process continues forever, for their lifetime. And so these low IQ, incompetent, incapable, lazy, useless people are being kept, if you like, in this permanent fantasy bubble. I don't know about. I'm not the brightest guy in the universe, and I didn't get a good enough pass graduating to university to study medicine, and I think it was like 85% or something you had to get. And I didn't fall far short, but fell short nonetheless. So I thought, okay, well, I'm not smart. Let's suppose, though, that someone comes to me, we're talking like the affirmative action fantasy university. what happens if someone's come to me at that time and said, "Hey, Billy Bob, we're going to put you into university to study brain surgery or I don't know, rocket science or something." Now, I would immediately know, I would understand to a point, at least, my capability. Doesn't mean that I wouldn't be subject to flattery or that I wouldn't like a bit of glory or so. It doesn't mean any of that, or wouldn't like a high salary, but I would balk at that. No, I've got to, if I do the brain surgery, I have a responsibility to do it well, to do it effectively, to not make my patients worse than when they come onto the operating table. I'm not up to that. Now, let's suppose there was a second thing. Well, there's actually no brain surgeons anywhere in the world, and you're the one-eyed man in the world of the blind. The one-eyed man is king, or something like that. Then I would take the responsibility, but then my responsibility would change to, well, I have to get very good at this. I have to study however hard, or make whatever effort, or do whatever I have to do to be good at it, so that I do deliver the very best for my patients, the brain surgery patients, or the rocket science. I don't want to have to think about that I might fuck up designing the rocket and the astronauts die, or the patient dies on the operating table, so I would take that with great solemnity, and would be humbled by the responsibility. Well, humbled's not the right word. Would be acutely cognizant of the responsibility that I would have if those responsibilities were forced upon me, as in thrust upon me, no one else to do it, or something like that. Now, that situation couldn't arise, but were it to, then I would take that responsibility very seriously, that I would be incumbent on me 100% of my being to deliver a quality service, or to go to the people that were backing me and say, "Look, I'm not up to this, guys. There are better people out there that can do this." Not to shirk responsibility when it's placed there, but rather to say there are better people. I'll do it if I have to, but there are better people. Be aware of that. So that would be the thing. But then again, that commitment to be the very best. What I don't see with these affirmative action recipients is that they perceive they have any responsibility to be good, or effective, or capable, or professional at what they do. They just seem quite prepared and quite happy, are entitled to ride the gravy train. So, well, I'm happy to take these multi-million-dollar salaries and to sit around and do fuck all, to just come out with silly talking points of evil white Christian males, and those sorts of things. Create and promote social division, but they don't seem to have any concept of responsibility. So when we're looking at affirmative action, and that it's not giving a leg up, or helping people, or giving a pass out to people. Look, we'll give you your one big break, but after this, you have to get by on merit. It's not that. It's the entire fantasy world. Now, when you look at the amount of affirmative action appointments everywhere, in business and in the public service, in government, the fucking NGOs, you name it. The fantasy, affirmative action fantasy, again, is a lifetime thing. They have to look after these people forever. If you suddenly went to any organization and put a merit-based exam or test, or evaluation criteria, it would flush out just how many affirmative action people are there, who not only are there, have been over promoted and over rewarded and given all sorts of handouts and dispensations, but people that are now think they're entitled to that. They think that is the real world, the normal world, the handouts, which gives some sort of window into the level of insanity that are pervading our societies today. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.